Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 2 of a best of 3 between Nilla and Pixy in the grand final of the second Steel Division 2 championship. Today they are playing on Brest West, and on our left in the red team playing on the Soviet side we have Nilla using the 184th Rifles and the Vanguard deployment type. And on our right, in the blue team, playing on the Axis side, we have Pixy using the 14th Infantry and the Vanguard deployment type. So, Brest West, probably one of my favourite DLC maps. I don't think it's necessarily the most balanced, due to the way that the red side here has a lot of high ground. But it is a very, very interesting map with this sort of river on the bottom side here. We've got the forested area in the center and then a little bit more open ground engagements on the top. But there's loads of dynamic terrain and also interesting line of sight to look out for. Now division wise, 184th, Nilla is going to have a lot of infantry up his sleeve, and we all know that Nilla loves his infantry and also his leadership. And I think the Strelki DP squads that the infantry, the 184th infantry gets can be very, very strong. Well, it's 184th rifles. So yeah, very strong infantry division, does have the sort of AT guns and infantry guns to back it up. On the side of the 14th, a little bit different. It's more of a sort of, I guess, hybrid infantry division. It relies more on armor to back it up than most infantry divisions. Of course, it has the looks that you can use for close range armored support in the early game. Really, really like the looks. And then later on you might bring in like a Tiger to hold more open range engagements, especially on the top side might be quite a nice area for a Tiger. But let's quickly go through deployment as the game gets underway. I've got Begleit Pioneers, really strong elite unit there for Pixy on the top side, Stostrup with MP44s, 2 Grenadiers with DP machine guns, IG 290 and a 45mm AT gun, and a Panzer II looks to back that up. Further towards the center, we see multiple Grenadiers and an Ersatz MG. Further down, it's going to be Grenadiers, Stostrup, Pack 45. There's going to be the Stostrup Grenadier, IG looks. And then on the bottom side, looks like similar sort of composition. 2 Grenadiers, Begleits, and Panzerschreck with a Panzer II look. So he's got small squads of infantry backed up by looks across the board. On the side of Nilla, he's got the snipers, he's got the infantry guns and AT guns, he's got the Strelki DP and the Tankos. Tankos moving up to the close range engagements, snipers and AT guns getting into position, OBs and Strelkis all pushing up together. Oh, that Stostrup went a little bit too far. Transport snipe on both sides, 45mm gun takes out one of Nilla's, and 45mm takes out one of Pixy's, but that AT gun went down very quickly to the 2 75 or 76mm infantry guns, and this IG 290 is under fire by 3, so that's going to go down very quickly indeed. And Pixy already lost the support gun war on that top side. On the bottom, however, the sniper that was in cover there did get taken out. I think that was the ace sniper of Nilla, gets absolutely demolished. Pixy looking in a much better position on the bottom than Nilla is currently. These Grenadiers moving up, actually catching the Tanko Desalniki out of position in the open there and killing one off immediately. These Begleits have got into a really nice position on this hill. That's going to take away some control that Nilla's going to have up here, although this abundance of infantry pushing through at close range is going to be very, very difficult for Pixy to deal with. Again, we have the difference in leadership here. No veterancy from the Grenadiers, 3-star veterancy on the Strelki DP, and it makes a big, big difference. He's of course got the commander back here, and then his Avto Komroti further up. It's got the Strelki DP trying to penetrate the Panzer II looks with its PTRD, but that's not going to end too well by the looks of things. The Grenadiers being forced back. Tankos do manage to get a Molotov off there. These Grenadiers, they're engaging the Tankos, one at close range, one at longer range. Tankos aren't able to engage this one in light cover unless they move up. Stostrup MP44s have been pushed out of there by the Strelki that landed on top of them. I'm going to see the Strelki forced back on the bottom side as the Grenadiers move up. Panzer II looks supporting that, is going to make it very difficult for the Strelki to get good value against those Grenadiers. So I really do like the use of the light armor with Pixy to try and push onto his opponent. And it's working out quite well so far, especially on this bottom side. On the top side here it was working for a little while, but it looks like the AT rifles managed to get the better of it eventually. The Grenadiers forced back. New infantry gun is on the way. He's going to have to be very, very careful where he deploys that though. He's got Avtos and Stroki DP coming in to deal with the Beglites that are still hanging about. These Beglites might be looking for the kill onto the infantry guns, which is probably pretty smart because he's going to need to take care of those in order to control this forested area. Once again, Lux coming in with those two Grenadiers and securing that middle area. Gonna reconnect the Grenadiers, bring flags back in favour of Pixy. Again, the Lux getting the better of some Stroki DP. These Stroki though, they are max range on this IG, so the IG will do some damage there, but the 76mm of Nilla is also helping out with these Grenadiers that are engaging across the open. So I'm not really sure who's going to get the better of this. I think it's probably going to be Nilla. Nilla with the 76mm infantry guns will be able to pin down all of the Grenadiers as they try and push forwards, whilst this IG is kind of at max range and also doesn't have line of sight onto the Stroki. The 45mm did just take out the Lux, so things not looking so great anymore. Tanko Thessaloniki do manage to get into the heavy cover, but of course Pixie's not going to want to throw his Grenadiers into those. He might use his Beglites to clean them out though. This Panzer II Lux moving up to engage the infantry gun. If he can kill that without showing line of sight to the 45, that'd be really, really good. Doesn't manage to get it though. Oh, we see a Tiger coming in already. Wow. And another IG on the field on this bottom side. So he's trying to secure that big lump of troops though coming in on the top side here for Pixie. Going to be using Ersatztruppen, backed up by the Ersatz MGs, as well as the Stosstrup MP44s, to try and prevent this infantry from coming up and taking more flags. The 45 did manage to take out one of the Ersatztruppen there, which isn't a big loss for Pixie, but he would always prefer to have the numbers, of course. Grenadiers that are pushed up in the centre, now getting overwhelmed by Stroki DP on the side of Nilla. These Beglites at close range will do a lot of damage to Avtos. Avtos is going to go down very, very quickly indeed. Beglites are so scary. I think Pixie here is just trying to avoid engaging the Tankos with the Beglites so that he doesn't take any unnecessary damage from the Molotovs. Stroki here though will be able to clean up the Grenadiers soon. This Tiger might kill off the Stroki here and take back this flag, but we'll have to wait and see. He's going to have to try and maintain line of sight somehow, and you can see that Nilla has put one of these into return fire. Tankos, they're going to get their Molotov off. Beglites are in heavy cover, so they won't take tons of damage, but they did lose 4 men, which is not ideal. They will be able to kill off Stroki DP though at very close range, but Nilla's now bringing the trick back to Pixie. Pixie, of course, using the Lux to support his infantry early. Now, of course, Nilla bringing in the M5 Stuarts to return the favour. IL-2 M3 coming in with a Napalm for the Tiger. Now, these Napalm planes can be pretty good against tanks because they can do a lot of damage over time. And so this Tiger's not going to be having a fun time. It's falling back. Ju-88 was brought in to try and shoot down the IL-2, but not a huge fan of those heavy fighters. They don't tend to do the job too well, and this was on the patch where the fighters still weren't very strong. So it looks like, in fact, Nilla's going to try and shoot down Pixie's Ju-88 with his IL-2. Anyway, the Panzerschreck's actually quite in a nice position, tucked in behind the Stroki. The Stroki will engage the Beglites, and then they'll get chewed up quite heavily. They're actually not in heavy cover as they engage, and the Panzerschreck can take out the Stuart. So this could be really, really good for Pixie. Does manage to get off a grenade as well. I think this Beglite might just kill off both of these Stroki. Maybe not, actually. It depends. If he can get another grenade off, then it's all his. IL-2 M3 coming in with a Napalm again. Will it get the kill? Yes, it will. Tiger goes down. IL-2 M3 there, going to be forced back by the flak filling. Ju-88 still trying to get the kill. Lux does go down to the AT gun on this bottom side. There's also an ISU 122 now on the hill. So Nilla there using the IL-2's AS command to break down the Tiger. That removes a lot of options from Pixy. Pixy, he also lost his Stug in the open. The ISU-122 popping that. The Ju-88 not happy about it, coming in for the cluster strike. This is going to have to be accurate. He can't guess, as he doesn't really have much to work with here. If he had line of sight, that's great, but it looks like he must have just lost line of sight because that was not accurate, and the ISU-122 is going to get away for now, and that is a very expensive plane to invest in and then miss. Ju-88 gets shot down eventually by the IL-2M3 as well. Things are not going in Pixy's favour at all. You can see in the middle his infantry push of grenadiers was broken down by the M5Ls and the overwhelming number of Strelki DP. The Stug 3 will be able to kill off the Stuart, and he might be able to then back up his Azerstruppen. But there is no veterancy here to be seen once again. And this is a huge difference between the playstyle of Nilla and Pixy, is the use of the 3-star veterancy. It makes a lot of difference. This AT gun looking for the snipes onto the Azerstruppen, the Begleits, will be able to move in and potentially take out that AT gun. They have managed to avoid the Avtos and Strelki on that ridge so far. So the Begleits could still do a lot of damage up here, and if they do manage to wipe out a lot of these infantry guns, then there is potential for things like the Stug 3 as well as a bunch of infantry to push back. But with a Vanguard deployment type for the 14th, you're very, very reliant on your initial early game trades, and so far it hasn't gone very well. You have those Begleit Pioneers, and they really are all or nothing for the 14th, because otherwise you're backed up by standard Grenadiers, which are worse than usual actually, because they have DP machine guns instead of MG34s. And then you've also got Ersatztruppen, and in this matchup the 184th Rifles just has better infantry across the board. Now the Lux here does manage to take care of one of the M5Ls, that's very nice. Is currently chewing up another one, but we do see infantry going down from on the side of Pixy to AT gun snipes of Nilla, and that is not really helping Pixy's case at all. He needs to keep as many infantry squads alive as possible so that he can continue to trade into Nilla's infantry. But you can see, of course, Nilla's got plenty more where that came from. Cherno's coming in, Strelki DP coming in. He's got 3 Stuarts on the bottom side. They're going to be engaging this IG. The ISU-122 did end up going down on this bottom side, but of course he does have the 2 Avtos in the way here, Nilla, which is stopping the Azerstruppen from moving forwards. Pixy might not want to even push forwards on this bottom side at the for the time being anyway, because he does control both of the flags on this side. He's going to want to try and push back in the center, sort of whittle down these Strelki DP squads, and then push forwards once again. But the Azerstruppen, they're actually getting low on Kar 98 ammunition at this point, and it looks like Pixie's struggling for infantry to back up his lines, whilst Nilla is continuing to bring more and more in. So the Begleits here, they're going to be engaging Strelki DP. Strelki DP tried to move forwards, got chewed up in the open by the Begleits behind enemy lines. Damn, those Begleits are good. They're looking for the kill onto the AT and the infantry guns on this ridge. It'll certainly help out a lot, but I'm just not sure that Pixy has enough to really follow through. He actually decided to push with his Azerstrupp and immediately regretted it, as the Avtoms are starting to charge them down, firing their submachine guns as they go. The Ersatz getting annihilated. The Avtos are actually running faster than the Ersatz, and the Ersatz both are likely to get surrendered here. M5 now engaging the 45. These two almost finishing off the IG. That's given back Nilla 1, maybe 2 flags. 15-9. Big mistake there from the Ersatz pushing forwards on the side of Pixy. But I guess he may be a little bit desperate at this moment to make ground, because the 14th really doesn't have any longevity when it comes to its infantry. You'd have to find those good trades, and also you got to make good use of your armor, and he can't on this map. It's a very difficult map to make good use of armor. Now this Begleit is doing work. It has killed off another infantry gun there. It killed off the AT gun. It's sitting right next to another infantry gun that it could probably kill. But Yeah, I just don't see the infantry to push forwards. He's got some Pioneer SVTs coming in here. These could be pretty good. The SVTs are relatively useful at the medium range, as long as they are micro correctly. But he's in a really tough spot. You can see the difference in terms of numbers of units on either side. It's an accurate representation of the Eastern Front. The double IL-2 coming in for the strafing run onto the Stug 3. Oh, this commander's actually moving up, and the Begleits are going to spot it. This Begleit unit has been absolutely fantastic. MVP of this game. It's going to take out the commander. That's incredible. It's actually really important for Pixy to be able to do that, because that would remove the veterancy advantage that Nilla's been trying to make use of, but Nilla's actually bringing an IL-2 M3 over to help save the combat. Can he do it? IL-2 M3 was pushed back by the flag filling. This one coming in does land its napalm strike. Begleit's pinned down. Combat might move back to surrender them, or it's just going to go and hide somewhere else. I think that's what's going to happen. The Begleit Pioneers now going to fall back, probably get themselves spotted at range and then killed off by something else. That's a shame. It's a sad end for those Begleit Pioneers. Unfortunately, this game doesn't look like it's going to end in Pixy's favour. It's quite unfortunate. I think the biggest problem with this game was the division pick, and I didn't really have much time to talk about the divisions at the start because it started so quickly. But the 14th, yeah, it relies very heavily on its armoured support to make ground. And unless that armoured support can be effective, you're in a really, really tough spot. And that's exactly why it's ended up the way it has. Because Pixy hasn't managed to find value out of his infantry due to not having that armoured support in effective positions. So there we go. Sostered with the MP44s, doing a reasonable amount of damage here, but it's just not enough numbers really to get the better of the abundance of Stroki and Avtos down there. The Chernos and Stroki still moving forwards on the top side. Begleit's now pinned down, probably just getting strafed constantly by the IL-2s. AU-88 is hanging about on the bottom side. We do see the AT gun down there. These Stuarts have been doing well. Oh, look at that beautiful view as the Stuarts fire away into the Pioneers that are rushing up. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left now until Pixy loses the game. JU-88's looking for that kill onto the IL-2. More Straki DP being thrown into the Begleit Pioneers. Can the Begleits find the combat? If Izzy could kill the combat there, that'd be fantastic. It'd be actually fantastic. 18-6. Yeah, not looking good. There's just not enough on the top side. These Begleit Grenadiers, they are very strong. But they're going to have to trade really, really well against the Strelki DP to bring this back. Begleit Grenadiers also coming on the bottom side without any close range support will struggle to get through the Avtos after the Strelki DP. So, yeah, this is really, really bad news for Pixy, unfortunately. Stug 3 does manage to clean up all of the Stuarts on this bottom side, so that's a little bit of progress. But now we see the amount of points that Nilla had up his sleeve. 2 ISU 122s coming in at the same time. Quite an expensive investment. But Nilla has points to spare, apparently, so able to plug any holes in his front line whenever he wants. IL-2 is just going to be strafing anything and everything. The IG is trying to hide behind the buildings there, but has been spotted, so the IL-2s are going to take that out. Lovely strafing run there by the IL-2s. Straki trying to maintain an engagement against the Begleits, but not going to matter. Pixy loses out. 17 minutes, 31 seconds. Yeah, that game just kind of went from bad to worse for Pixy. It wasn't a very strong start, and he just couldn't match up the infantry value that Nilla was getting out. The Strelki DP with the extra veterancy on that top side just swarmed through. There was nothing that Pixy could do in that engagement without veterancy on his own units himself. The Beglite Pioneer behind enemy lines was really, really fun to watch. And it was nice to see Pixy still microing that and getting a lot of those support gun kills. But yeah, inevitably it came down, I think, to the division matchup rather than particularly player skill. The 184th, with its abundance of decent infantry and cost-efficient infantry, really just ran down the Ersatztruppen and sort of units that Pixy could bring in general. So let's have a look at these kills. We've got the 76mm guns. Nilla had more of them. He overwhelmed Pixy's support on his top side. The 45s managed to cut down those looks. The looks was actually one thing that Pixy used very nicely with his own infantry, I think. But look at the Strauchy DP there, just killing so many Ersatztruppen. Wow. Maxim actually got quite a few kills. Don't generally see a Maxim do too well like that. But Strauchy, again, going like 3 for 1 and stuff is really, really nice. When Nilla started bringing in his own light armor as well, that really, really helped him out in those close range engagements. I guess it didn't make that much of a difference because Pixy, especially on the bottom side, had that Panzerschreck in position. But those M5s were a real pain for Pixy to clean up because his own armor, Pixy's armor, was being shut down by the IL-2s a lot. The Stogs were getting strafed. The Tiger was getting napalmed. Like it wasn't good news at all. The IG here did manage to take out the ace sniper at the start, which was quite nice on that bottom side. Gave him a lot of control down there to allow him to keep pushing infantry across the open. Strauchy and the Maxims also got taken out by that IG, so that did really well. And of course, a Beglite Pioneer here, killing what 1, 2, 3 infantry guns, 2 AT guns, and 2 infantry squads. I mean, Benz, what an absolute hero. Beglite Pioneer further down, Tanko, Strauchy, infantry gun. Very nice trade there. Pants 2 looks, managing to kill multiple M5s is good. We got the AT gun there doing okay, and then the Stug killing a few more of those M5s. So what killed the ISU? Oh wow, the IG actually killed the ISU. So this ISU probably took quite a bit of damage from the cluster plane. Like one of the cluster bombs did land quite close, just didn't get the kill. So the IG must have managed to finish it off with HE damage, which is quite funny. Anyway, yeah, that was, I don't know, it looks closer than it should have been on the kills and losses. Nilla just overwhelmed Pixy with this division. I think that's what it came down to there. Bit of a mismatch of divisions. But that's it. Nilla takes a victory, and that's going to be 2 games out of 3 for Nilla. So he wins the second Steel Division 2 championship. Congratulations to Nilla. Played very well throughout the tournament. Made great use of the meta with the infantry and the veterancy throughout most of his games. Was really pushing that play style, and nobody really matched it. And especially in this final, Pixy certainly didn't. His infantry play was... it was okay, like in terms of micro, but just didn't have the leaders in place. And I think that's the biggest problem with this matchup between Pixy and Nilla throughout this best of 3 series. So yeah, it's a shame we're not going to be seeing a third game, but that's going to be the end of the second Steel Division 2 championship. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it on the channel. I found it very fun to cast, and I really do love casting Steel Division 2, and I will be doing, of course, more of it. Big thanks, of course, to Tiger for organising and running the tournament and sorting me out with all of the replays, nice and organised, so I could go through it. Took me a little while to get through them all, so sorry about that, but hopefully I'll be coming back at you with some more current content in the future. But that's it for now. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.